Right, that's enough silliness. Ted already. Aye, sir. Right,
10
you go and Ted, you go and twiddle the knobs, young man. All right, welcome one and all for Mocking the Week. Everything current and topical going on both within and without the nutrition and health, and health field. Goodness gracious. Joining me is my co-conspirator, the very, very wonderful Coach Stephen. How's the week been?
It's been fascinating, hasn't it? It's
been
absolutely
my word.
Fascinating. You know when you want to shout out, "Told you."
Go on then.
Well, where should we start? Let's start with blood testing. Shall we start with that? We'll build up to a big crescendo. How about that?
Oh, I love that word, a big crescendo. It's almost as good as the word fallacious.
I've had a wonderful person allow me to share some information about her experience with the HbA1c and the fructosamine assay. And it is as simple as this. If you want me to screen share, I can, but it's going to be out on my Substack. It's all verifiable, but it gets the point across.
Up to you, either way. I'm easy. It's not a vicious rumour.
That's what she said, isn't it? Right?
I'm here all week.
Well, let's make sure that we don't need to show people pictures because I'm sure they believe us, and it isn't going to be on my Substack next week. But basically, somebody came to me, had listened to the thing about the HbA1c, and she decided to get that and a fructosamine assay. And for those people that don't know, I've been living under a rock for the last 6 years. I've been banging on about this, and I know you're tepid about all the stuff. I know you believe about the red blood cell lifespan, but this really proves it. I mean, it absolutely nails it, even though there's other tests like reticulocyte. So the same person, same blood, the HbA1c was 5.9%.
Right.
So the doctor wanted to put her on metformin. She said, hang on a minute, I've got my fructosamine assay to come as well. And that was 4.8%, which is not only not on metformin, that's really good blood glucose control.
Yeah.
The glycation rate, much, much less. All bona fide. Now, that's one of many. I've been going on and on about it. And most people that have bad health, reverse it, that I'm dealing with, they don't want to do a success interview until it's complete, which is really frustrating for me because the fructosamine assay is gold dust in our hands, because anyone that's saying, let's take a couple of influencers who are maybe saying carnivore makes you diabetic, and they use the HbA1c as the example. You're using the wrong metric. It's that simple, And you're great with maths, but you don't have to be great with maths to understand the next thing. If you've got a variable and you treat it as a constant, your maths is going to be bad. And the analogy I'm now using, because people don't seem to get it, is if you were in a maths class and you were 10 years old and the teacher said, right, we're going to learn how to add things to 1. And, numbers can be variable. So you could be 2, we could be adding 3, we could be adding 4. We could be adding 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's just say it's 7. So every time you see algebra and it's 1 plus whatever, it's always 7. And the 10-year-old will go, well, that's stupid. And that's what we're doing with the HbA1c. We're taking a variable which is very variant and saying, right, let's treat it as a constant, and you will get the wrong result. Simple as that.
Yep.
Simple. So the fructosamine assay takes that all out, because the red blood cell lifespan is never going to be less than 3 weeks. And so you get a better, more dynamic, more accurate measure of your daily glycation. Sorry, Bart, I know I'm going on about this, but as I said, I was lucky with Eddie Goeke today. We were talking about this and we did a video together. You've got to keep banging on about it. And I know it's hard to answer the same thing the same way, but there are still people out there, as you did a video about, who still think the HbA1c is a reliable marker when it isn't. It just is not. But that's the same with all bloods. And that was the other thing I wanted to say. Why do people bang on about hydration? Should you drink water? Does a cup of coffee make a difference? Yes. All bloods pretty much are measured in concentrations. And if you're dehydrated, you are going to have a higher number of anything because the concentration will be greater. And if you're overhydrated, it's going to be lower. So you could gain most numbers, and that's what people do. You can gain these numbers. That's it. So how you look, how you feel, clinical presentation, all that is absolutely sparkling, top dollar. That's the thing you should look at. Meaningful metrics.
Yeah, agreed.
So that's a little bit of, if anyone's saying to you, carnivores, you're all going to be diabetic, the moment they say, look at their HbA1c, switch off. Also, you could even say that with fasted blood glucose, because the actual threshold, the threshold for where there is pathology, which you like talking about, where the kidney is beginning to fail. And I know this from doing a decade in private blood testing, and that's where the urine, it starts to be contaminated with glucose.
Yeah.
Hence the name, the renal threshold, is 180 milligrams per deciliter. Ooh. You've got a lot of, a lot of leeway. I'm not saying to try and get, typical humans, oh, well, there's my target. Let's get up to 179 and I'll be all right.
That's right.
But the point is, we will have a lower level of insulin. So there's more passive diffusion. There's more diffusion of glucose going in. So it's going to reside in the bloodstream a little bit more, but that's not problematic. Not at all. We've got 14 different types of glucose transporters. Only one is dependent on insulin. There's 13 that aren't. So it's not all about insulin either. And there is a question there about thin blood versus thick blood. That does definitely matter. And I was doing a live with Jonathan, Carnivore Muscle, and he said, I've never heard anyone say that before. And I was talking about shear stress and laminar flow, which I know you talk about a lot.
Yes.
But as you're having the day off for the moment, because you're keeping your powder dry for what's coming up, what we're going to talk about, I'll bore people with it. So in the artery, let's say the artery is like this, just so people know, and there's fluid going through it. If you can imagine, right, the arterial wall creates some resistance on the flow. And if you could imagine layers of blood or molecules going through, the ones in the middle are going to go faster than the ones at the edge. And you get a little bit of what's called shear stress. So this is just fluid dynamics. It's basic fluid dynamics. It's not even controversial. Mm-hmm. Now, if it's more dilute, what's going to happen? You're going to get more shear stress, not a problem. The body has baroreceptors and it has pressure receptors. And if it's thicker, you're going to get less shear stress, but you're going to get some other problems. You get more laminar flow with slightly thicker blood. I'm not saying thick blood's good. What I'm saying is there's so many different things to consider. Then you get into bifurcations and high pressure areas and turbulence there. So everything is about what is species appropriate. It's not about drinking 8 glasses of water. It's not about drinking no water. Pure water, you can't urinate out pure water. So electrolyte balance is really important. But yeah, the thickness of your blood, viscosity, many people say, well, the thinner the better. Well, that's not true, because that actually invites a turbulent flow, that too dilute. And that's going to be a big problem if you've got high blood pressure. So some people could be having problems because they are drinking way too much water. If your urine is clear, then you're probably drinking too much water. But obviously, we can't watch your blood flow in real time, really. But you can in research settings. But shear stress is a thing. And we were always talking about the injuries to the endothelium of the arteries. Well, that's what you talk about, Bart. But I don't think you do talk about fluid sort of dynamics, but that's maybe a more pictorial version for people to understand. And, I was talking about this the other day and they said, well, what about this exclusion zone? Well, the exclusion, if it exists, which it could do, you still get that effect. You still get the center of the fluid moving, if you can imagine it, however you imagine it, as little dots of molecules or lines, and you cut it. The middle section where there is least resistance will go slightly faster. That seems really obvious to me. Obviously, there's a little bit of drag, but the body copes. You know, and then the pulsatile nature of that as well will give it time to sort of catch up. So, yeah, good question.
There's also another phenomenon, Steve, that comes up, but it only comes up at a certain level of blood pressure, which seems to be quite precipitous. Given the non-Newtonian nature of the blood, this is an effect. Oh, I know. This is an effect called the Faraeus-Lindqvist effect, named after its discoverers, whereby if you impose enough pressure on the blood in the smallest of the arteries, what happens is there is an axial migration of the red blood cells from the outside towards the center. They are compressed in. And that's part of that as well. And what that allows is it actually allows the plasma to rush past the formed elements in the middle, which actually then slow down because it's a clump of red cells. And so you can imagine the problems associated with that. So while it alleviates the immediate shear stress problem at that time, what that also does is means that the red blood cells are kept away from the walls of the arteries, the very smallest and all of that. So then we've got a perfusion problem as well. So anyway, just thought I'd throw that in there.
It's fantastic, isn't it? I mean, the thing is, it's so... I'm surprised, actually, because all this knowledge has been here, but I didn't think people would be interested in laminar flow and fluid dynamics and how water goes up a tree and all this sort of stuff. But boy, people are interested in it. So,
yeah, I've been barking up the wrong tree for weeks.
Yay!
Yeah. Oh, no, that's fascinating stuff. Yes, excellent. And the other thing I would add to the discussion around people coming online, be they of the right heart or not, be their hearts being in the right place or not, I mean, people without the background, without the training and without the experience in human health, human nutrition, human metabolism, all of those topics, that think themselves competent to make commentary. Example, the couple I dealt with yesterday. Okay. This is not okay. I am sick to the back teeth of these backyard warriors coming online, setting themselves up as coaches, for goodness sake, telling people how to run their lives, run their nutrition, run their health programs without the first clue of what they're talking about. It makes me really cross, as I made quite clear yesterday, I think. What do you think of that?
Well, yes. I mean, I don't mind if someone's got no qualifications, if it's obvious that they know what they're talking about. I think lived experience is absolutely, I'm happy with that. And to be honest, we both know people that do have PhDs and all that, and they talk absolute rubbish. But he's wrong. He's wrong.
Sorry.
But in the end, I mean, nothing beats firstly clinical experience. Nothing beats that. But I know the video you're talking about, not even bringing numbers to the table, and then not enough numbers and not enough context. And saying things, not seeing, the mechanism is difficult. And then there's also, so let's say someone comes to me and says, it's fat that causes diabetes. I would simply say, well, can you just explain the over 1,000 success stories I've had over 16 years where people have reversed diabetes and it's been removing carbs and they've kept the fat in and some people have increased the fat. You can give me a great answer to that. I'm happy. But there is no answer to that because those real lived experiences prove that it isn't fat causing diabetes. There's something else at play because you can take the thing out. So you are sort of doing an interventional experiment. I know there's loads of confounders, but over that amount of time with that amount of people, there's got to be something to removing carbs. There's got to be, and diabetes. And so then you think, well, let's say that's true, but also what they're saying could be true. So how could both things be true? And that's when it starts to be difficult because you can't see the mechanism. Fat does not really impact the levels of insulin. It's very difficult to see how eating fat can in a meaningful way, put your blood glucose up with excursions and spikes and stuff like that, because it's notoriously slow release, isn't it, of everything?
Yes,
In fact,
exactly that. Yes.
Yeah. So none of it makes sense. And they're really nice people. I've had them on both on my channel. I love them. I think they're great.
Look, I said yesterday a number of times, I think these guys' hearts are in the right place. I think they're trying to help people. However, Craig sat there without any sense of irony or humour and told his viewers that the reason that fat cells stop being able to absorb fat when they're full is because of insulin resistance. And he said it more than once. Oh, okay, well, we're done listening to you then, pal. Because, anyway. So can endothelium become damaged from glycation, or are the abrasions all caused by turbulent flow? There's a good question.
You're the pathophysiologist. You want to go for that?
Sure, can do. The answer is yes, absolutely. Both physical, mechanical damage and chemical damage are possible individually or together in parallel. And if you damage the endothelial lining mechanically through pressure, shear, stress-induced physical injury, that makes it vastly more likely that glycation will occur. That's kind of additive. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that, we talk about when you're in a lab and you want to induce atherosclerotic plaques, they have to injure the endothelium. They have to do that, don't they? So they can't put, I know LDL particles are not cholesterol, but let's say, just for the people that are listening, they put an LDL particle in an artery in a dish, nothing's going to happen. They injure it and then something happens.
Yeah.
So they've got to injure it. So it's the injury that's the problem, isn't it?
Yes. The injury is the problem.
Yeah.
And so what these people are saying is that LDL causes the injury, which it does not, demonstrably, clearly, absolutely, unequivocally. It's 180 degrees out of phase with objective reality. Actually, it's the injury that attracts the LDL.
Yeah.
In the same way that fires attract fire crews, fire crews aren't running around lighting fires, hopefully. This is the same, absolutely the same nonsense when I dealt with not a competent doctor, Terry Simpson, a few days ago in a live debate. Did you see that one, Stephen?
Yeah, and I'm actually so disappointed because he talked a good talk with you for a bit, like he was open to it. So it wasn't great. Yeah.
And then you go back to the X platform where the interaction between himself and a small yellow furry teddy bear initiated this whole thing. And instead of, I've been taught a lesson, I've been shown up by a vastly superior academic, vastly more experienced, vastly more knowledgeable, bad bald man from New Zealand, I apologise to all my followers for my years of fallacious nonsense. Do you think that's what we got from him? No, sir. No, we didn't. What we got is doubling down on the same ridiculous, excremental, pustulous nonsense, more virtue signalling, more trying to claim the moral high ground, more claiming that he was correct and I was incorrect because I say naughty words. Anything but actually deal with the fact that he was absolutely spanked in that debate, wasn't he?
Yeah. But he gave the impression, didn't he, that, I'm open to this. He presents well, which is possibly why he's where he is, because I'm sure if you met him in the pub, he would be quite nice to talk to. But,
possibly.
It upsets me, to be honest.
Because
if
we're ever allowed to go to pubs again. Without having to pay, what is it, £5.60 for a half pint? Or something. Anyway, we'll get to politics later.
We will.
All right, we've got 3 questions here. I can tell from the 3 Qs. Q. Must mean 3 questions. All right.
Well, it's from my channel. Well, hang on.
Is that what you do?
Yeah. Sorry.
All right.
My thought.
You're guilty then. Guilty of the 3 questions. So we still need to bill you 3 times for 3 questions. No, I'm kidding. What's 3 times 0 anyway?
Well, if it's the HbA1c thing, we can just estimate it.
Well, exactly. Yes. And If we divide the number of genders that exist
Here we go.
by the number of competent politicians in the UK, how much climate change do we get?
Nice.
Anyway, let's have the question. If someone has a titanium mitral valve, bionic person, for about 20 years with a pacemaker and defibrillator, can they eat fatty meat or fat on the meat?
Yes.
Yes, indeed. I agree. Yes, they can.
Yeah.
Why would they not be able to?
Maybe there's some thing they've read somewhere, but
like ooh, that all that fatty meat has caused you a heart problem. You need to stop doing that now. Nonsense.
But you see, now actually, I'm going to say something that is nowhere near as bad what happened to your farm with the flooding, right? But we bought a new pump because underneath our house there is a sort of sump bit where there's so much water. We have to every day have a pump going, right?
Right.
And you know how damaging water is and how difficult it is to move it when it doesn't want to be moved.
That's right.
So every day now so we had a pump that was 60 years old. Talking about the proper valve here, right? Some things are built to last. And we bought a new one because it did fail after 60 years of being in the house. We haven't been here 60 years, but the pump has. It lasted 3 weeks, right?
Nice.
And the electrician came around and said, the problem with your water pump, in all seriousness, he said this, the problem with your water pump is it's got water in it. Seriously, in all seriousness. So we got to get a new one. So in the meantime, I'm getting up and every 2 hours going down and into the bowels of the earth with buckets to go to this sump and bring the water up. And I am fed up with it. I've only been doing it 3 days and I'm really fed up with it already. So how you survived in your situation is beyond me.
Yeah, well, we had a lot of water through here. It was a stunning amount of water, and the power of it and the damage that it does was quite stunning. Until DC Dave arrived here, actually.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Dave came to help out for a few weeks, and he's a beast of a man, by the way, lumping around huge logs and lifting things and doing stuffs. Field Marshal Dave, DC of the Meat Militia. And I was talking about the flooding and stuff. For those that don't know, Dave walked away from the tsunami in Japan, and he's looking at me like, get it, son. So, it's all relative, isn't it?
It is all relative.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So there it is. How about iodine? Recently purchased 5% Lugals. How many drops do you think per day? How did that come into it? Iodine.
Well, I think possibly when it's on my channel, because I talk about this a bit, because I talk about the iodine clearance test. Because this is all guesswork. If you want to know if you're deficient in iodine, or iodine, depending where you live, you can do what's called an iodine clearance test. You're given a tablet with X amount of units of iodine, and then over the next 24 hours, they look at your urine, and they can work out from that whether you're deficient or not. So that's the first thing I would test, not guess. Secondly, drops. Well, allegedly 5% Lugals drops will have about 6.25 milligrams of iodine, which is pretty high. I wouldn't start with that. I would use a tablet rather than a drop because the drop's variant. I would use something like potassium iodide, which comes in 100 micrograms or 200 micrograms. And I would start slow. And I think that's the better way to go. Personally, I understand from what I just said. Yes, the body excretes any excess, but why would you put that extra stress on when you don't need to? So how many drops would be one, but highly diluted, or get potassium iodide and try that first so you can have a smaller dose. But before that, do the clearance test.
Eminently sensible as ever, of course.
Thank you.
All right, how does one get Sorul products in the UK? Very simple. https:// followed by onlinecoach.sorul.com.
Yes.
It's also on the yellow ticker tape. Yes. Oh, yes, and you can get Carnivore in the UK now.
Yeah, hardcore
Where is it?
Carnivore.
It's on my desk somewhere. There it is. There you go. See, this is the New Zealand version. It's just the same, only different.
Oh, hang on a minute. Let's do something funny. Put yours down.
Yeah.
Right, ready? Here you go, Bart. Here is my packet. Here, take it.
Right.
There you go.
Oh, look, it changed colour. And it's gone see-through. Yeah, good.
Yeah. Apart from that worked.
That's my invention, by the way.
I know.
Not the base ingredients, not the active ingredients. That's not my invention. My invention is this formulation. What doesn't contain cellulose capsule and what doesn't contain rice starch. Yeah, there you go. I invented something. I'm accused of inventing a lot of things, mind. Whether I actually did or not is another story for another day. Yep. Apparently, I should check out a reversed episode. What the hell's reversed episode?
Oh.
Don't know. Anyway, where Maria Emmerich argues with Ken Berry about the fat threshold and insults him.
Okay.
Whatever. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I was very disappointed with reversed, actually, because
I've never even heard of the thing.
Oh, well, it's based on the premise of reversing illnesses, reversing diabetes and stuff like that. But I thought it was a lot of money spent to not be, well, you didn't even know about it. So, yeah, I was a bit disappointed. I had some good guests on there as well.
Right. Here we go. I think I missed one.
Opportunity.
Speaking of missed opportunities, here's one from Melted Cheese. I use grounding mat for about an hour a day. Good. Although longer is better. I also have a wire connected to my bed. Okay, that's better. So several hours if you sleep more than an hour then. But my heart beats so slow, I get afraid. What do you think?
Well,
there are lots of things that can cause bradycardia, aren't there?
Yes. It's a bit unusual after grounding. Let's go for one of the obvious ones. It could be that you're getting quite calm and therefore your heart rate is lowering because you're in a nice situation.
Yes.
I wouldn't say grounding is known for lowering your heart rate, but it could. That is one possibility, isn't it?
Yes.
Are you feeling dizzy?
Yeah.
Then that is a problem, fainting and chest pain and stuff like that. I'd get that checked out. But if you're just lying there thinking, oh, my heart's beating a bit slower than normal, it might just be that you're aware of it as well. So many different things could be going on there.
Yep. The other obvious one is when you're grounded electrically, the effective viscosity of your blood is reduced by a factor of about 3.
Yes.
So that means that the contractility, at least, of your heart will reduce because it has to pump blood which is much thinner. That may have an effect on your rate of contraction as well through the various feedback mechanisms there. Hard to say, really.
Yeah, excellent. But good.
How to lower thick blood? Well, ground yourself. There you go. There's an example. You can take aspirin.
Yeah.
You could take other blood thinners like rat poison. That's probably not a good idea, though.
Certainly not if you're a rat.
No, you could overhydrate yourself. That would achieve the same. The other thing that you might do is take in a whack of sodium, which might lead to thinner blood, but it might also interfere with your cardiac function, but not as much as potassium would. If you have a whack of potassium, that can stop your heart altogether.
Yeah, that's what they use in the lethal injection, isn't it? Potassium.
It is. It's also what they use in heart surgery. I've actually administered they call it cardio pledge to make it sound like a drug. It's just hypertonic solution of potassium, really. And you administer that to the patient and their heart stops. Incredible. And then half an hour later, it starts twitching again. So you got to give them another dose to stop it so the surgeon can do his thing or her thing. Or them, they, their thing, or whatever. Yeah. So there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
A couple of people have used the expression 2 faves in one place again. That's quite nice. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but we're not related to that other fave. He's an idiot.
I actually politely asked him if he would like to do a debate and to talk about the fact that he didn't really understand the HbA1c
or anything else.
Well, yeah, but and he said that he wouldn't do that because I'm obviously going to be really rude. And here are 5 studies you need to look at. And They're not interested, are they, these people?
No.
In talking.
Yeah.
They're not.
Hello, George. Good to see you, mate. What's happening? Yes, there are too many coaches. I agree. Yep. Okay, good. If you're an English teacher, you'll be having a hoot with me. Goodness. The other people that usually have a laugh with me are people who know something about psychology. Yeah. All right. So, is glycation more common in already inflamed areas? It seems like it is, yes. A vicious cycle, yes. I think that's what I was kind of alluding to earlier. They kind of seem to be additive a bit. Catch-22 and all of that. The damage does not seem to be ubiquitous, no, and unprejudiced. It does not seem to be. By the virtue of the fact that the atherosclerotic lesions occur in patterns, in very predictable patterns, in very predictable areas within the vascular tree, when we are scanning a patient looking for these things, we know where to look to see whether they're there or not. So we go straight there. Is the answer to your question, I think.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is that vicious circle thing, isn't it? Because inflammation is making it more susceptible to glycation happening, and then the glycation happens, which feeds into the inflammation. The very definition of a vicious circle. Sorry, being boring there, but just saying the same thing.
Not at all. It's all about being special, apparently.
Is it? Yeah.
My mum says I'm special. She also says, son, will you not shut the fuck up at any point?
Isn't there a joke about a mum watching her little boy in a marching band, and she says to her friend, look at that, my boy's the only one marching in time.
Exactly. That's me. I'm the only one marching in time. Although, I've got some friends that are starting to come on board with the whole rhythm of the thing. Yeah. So there it is.
You were saying you were going to talk a bit about politics and Peter Attia.
We can talk about Peter Attia first. Yeah. I mean, it seems to me that there are a bunch of people, including one PhD MD from Harvard, who should also, frankly, pull his head in and shut the fuck up and disappear because he's just an imbecile, with Dunning-Kruger, and is a very young man without the wisdom or knowledge or, experience to know what he should be doing and what he should not be doing, and has done a great deal of damage through
Is he like a sort of baby with a beard?
That's him.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the boy. Yeah. He's a boy in short pants who needs to realise he's a boy in short pants, actually. Anyways, guys like him are taking shots at Peter Attia for stuff he said about, the actual material. And I'm like, well, hang on, just a moment here. Sure, absolutely, Peter is wrong, because Peter is wrong about nearly everything he opens his mouth about in terms of the material he's got wrong. And I've been saying that for a long, long time. But I think there's something else a bit more topical, a bit more immediately important that we could talk about with Peter Attia. Yes. Like his close personal friendship with a known pedophile. And his alleged refusal to offer assistance to a young lady who he met on an island that he says he was never on, even though there's an email from his assistant to Epstein giving the flight details and saying when he was arriving. But anyway, he was never there. And allegedly, he never met a young lady there for whatever purpose, nefarious or otherwise, whom gave him her name, checked back with him that he could spell it correctly so that, for whatever reason, apparently, allegedly, and said, I need help. I need you to help me. And apparently he did not. It's not good, is it?
No.
If for no other reason, as a licensed medical practitioner, which it turns out he's fucking not, that's even funnier, he would be required to report that. as per, his ongoing registration as a medical practitioner, which, as I say, while he's got he's one of these guys like Paul Sellard, I don't know dick about fuck, and like not really a Dr. Gregor, for example. These are guys with the MD qualification who have not done a residency. Ergo, are not medical practitioners, are not able to practice medicine, and have never practiced medicine, not one single day in their lives. Any one of those three individuals I've just mentioned. So, yeah, anyone that pays the slightest attention to Peter Attia for any other reason than to point to his overt evilness, his disgraceful conduct, his subhuman behavior, you're missing the boat. How's that?
Well, I think you sort of summed that up quite nicely. I mean, I'm glad. Look, I don't want to mention the fact that when his child was having serious issues in the hospital, Peter Attia didn't bother to go and visit the hospital. He stayed with his buddy. I won't mention that because I think that's laying it on a bit too thick. Well, so I won't mention that. But
all right, good. I'm glad you didn't mention that. What an absolute shit stain.
Yeah.
What a subhuman disgrace.
But, if you watch his TED talk where he burst into tears, it's so obviously acted. It's, for effect. It's just, but you're right, actually. I mean, his information is pretty poor, actually.
Yeah. So, I mean, for those that don't know, Peter Attia variously at times has presented himself as being an expert in the field of exercise physiology. As a bona fide expert in exercise physiology myself, I can assure viewers he is no such thing. He does not understand the energetics of muscle contraction. He does not understand the metabolic pathways of energy provision, so-called, for muscle contraction. He is not someone I would take exercise advice from, not in a purple fit. He's also presented himself as an expert in cardiovascular pathophysiology, which, guess what? I'm also an expert in that, and I can assure you he's not that either. He's an LDL is a cause of heart disease imbecile. He's a statin's a great imbecile. He's it's not that, it's ApoB. Let's change the goalposts. He's one of these charlatans, really, that believe this absolute nonsense. Just like that, not really a competent Dr. Terry Simpson, who thinks that association is causality, and that citing a work that he doesn't himself understand proves his point, and that somebody else saying fuck proves them wrong. That kind of thing.
Yes.
No, none of those things are correct, are they? No. And he even made comments over there, like Ted was swearing his box off, frankly, at Terry, and rightly so, because I can't control Ted anyway. He's his own bear. He does his own thing. Mm-hmm. But this clown, Terry, at the moment, turned around and made a comment that, well, the reason that the bear is being so abusive and just swearing at me is because he's got no argument and no evidence, despite the fact that both the bear and yours truly, this bad bald man, provided the refutation, provided the logic, and provided the evidence for what it is that both of us have had to say to the boy. And that just goes like water off a duck's back. It's incredible.
Yes.
These people are immune to objective reality, it seems, or they think they are. So stunning. Anyway.
It is really stunning. And, if I remember rightly, he was taking metformin. This is going back to Attia. For health reasons, and also a statin for health reasons.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. There's clear sign of the quality of the reversed program. They have an idiot like Sarah Zeldivar on, but they don't have any actual bona fide experts on. And yes, you're an idiot, Sarah Zeldivar. You are a fucking imbecile. There you go. There it is. For anyone that was at all wondering what I thought of Sarah Zeldivar, she's a fucking imbecile.
Yeah, I hate it when you sit on the fence like this. You really need
I know. I should tell you how I really feel, shouldn't I?
You should. Fed up with reading between the lines.
I know. Yeah. I can't help myself. It's all part of the fun, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, you should be allowed to say what you feel.
Yeah. So here we have another fucking imbecile, apparently. Bart doesn't understand insulin resistance. Yes, I do.
Hang on.
Very, very well, in fact.
I think this is someone having a joke, a bit tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, well, nonetheless, I still have to take it at face value because, unless you label it sarcasm, we don't know.
What's the beginning bit? SMH.
This is someone that subscribed to my channel, by the way. But anyway, this comment is imbecilic.
Right, okay.
I don't understand insulin resistance, but thinks grounding does anything beyond placebo. Okay, well, that's just a stupid comment. Yeah. I do understand insulin resistance very, very well, better than almost anybody on this planet, it seems. I've proven that time and time again. Yeah. And the fact that a lot of people can't even understand what my argument is not my fault. Why are everybody so fucking stupid? And grounding absolutely has been shown to be associated with a number of effects. In fact, there's a 5-minute video on my channel where I think I do a Mick the Vegan style. Look at this, and this one, and that.
I mean, we could always flip it. I mean, let's be honest, right? If we didn't have grounding and all this, and I came on and I said, "Hey, Bart, I've got this brilliant health hack. What you do is you wrap your feet in insulating material, and you never let your feet touch the grass." How wacky does that sound when you flip it around?
It does sound a bit crazy, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Let's live in a way that's completely unnatural.
Yeah. And you would literally say to me, "Stephen, that doesn't sound right to me." You're not letting your feet breathe. You're not letting your biomechanics work in your foot. There's nothing better than standing on the sand or in the grass, and letting the sand go between your toes and all those good things. No, let's stop all that, Bart. Let's insulate ourselves from it. To see that, to me, sounds just crazy.
Nice. Goodness gracious, how can you type and like keep the notes of the court accurately and listen to what's being said here? That's some multitasking.
Well, I log every question because it helps me with my Substack. I was talking to my online community members today about it, that I don't need to research anything because we get so many questions. There's always something that I think, oh, that would be a good article to write about. So, or something to talk about. Yeah.
You're such a Rudy, apparently.
Yeah, well, I was talking. Yeah, they're being tongue in cheek there because I said about exactly. My fave. Yeah.
Hello, I'm not late. How do we know you're not late? Report to Ted afterwards. He'll determine the lateness or otherwise. Ted is the arbiter of all things factual. Ted is the science. He's safe and effective. You should trust Ted. Never question the science because that's hate speech.
So you've not seen the statin study then? And you've not?
I haven't. Please give me the rundown on the statin study. I haven't read the thing yet.
Can I show you something?
Yeah, you can show me. Well, it depends what you want to show me, Stephen.
Hey!
Hey!
Right. Okay. Now, it's up to you to put it on the thing.
Yeah, it is. There it is. Right. That's what she said.
Right. So this is how they're presenting the data. So there's a huge circle. I've just zeroed in on the top quarter, really.
Right. What the purple fuck is that? Why are we using a circle?
Well, I think it's deliberate to make it look confusing. But anyway.
Right.
So
this is so confusing, you plebs couldn't possibly understand it. Just trust us. We're the science. We're safe and effective. Don't question us.
So anyway, just for my readers, I put this yellow line to show where 1 was and explained about confidence intervals and stuff like that. So high intensity statin treatment is pretty nailed on that it's a side effect.
Yes.
If you look at that, I don't know if you can see it clearly. Low intensity or moderate intensity statin treatment, that's not even crossing the line there. It's not crossing one.
Treatment for what, by the way?
Statin treatment. Well, yes, I know. All right, statin therapy, statin taking, however you want. Being forced to have
right. So, is this for effect on plasma levels of LDL, or is it for some other outcome, though?
Well, it's very.
Sorry, here it is. Look, new onset diabetes.
Yes,
what they're looking at.
Yeah, sorry. The circle.
Right. Okay. So what we're saying is intensive statin therapy is clearly associated with an increased level of onset diabetes.
Correct.
Is that what we're saying? Right.
That's
good.
what
Okay.
we're saying, right? But we're also saying that low intensity and moderate intensity is pretty nailed on as well.
Okay. Yes.
And also muscle pain or weakness. Would you say that's pretty nailed on? Yeah. Right. So that's all I want to show. I just wanted to show you that because the way the English press presented this study was you can throw away your inserts now because there is no side effects. Apart from diabetes, by the way, which is the biggest cause of death in this world now, in the Western world, because diabetes and diabetic complications are the top killer.
Yeah.
But we'll just ignore that. We just ignore it.
Exactly. Because it's devastating and inconvenient.
Yes.
Right.
You saw it straight away within about 30 billionths of a second.
Well, I'm kind of trained to dig these things out pretty quickly. It's kind of a lifelong thing. No, actually, I just made that up, though. I'm not really an academic.
Was that the bearded baby telling you that?
No, that was the old man.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. Asking the bear what his qualifications are.
Right.
He's a bear, Terry. Bears don't have qualifications. He's a lord, though. Legally, this guy is a lord. He owns a square foot of land in Scotland. This is Lord Edward Yellow. Get fucked. Anyway, there it is. I'm also a lord, but I own a little bit more than a square foot. So I'm a bigger lord than Ted. Get over it. Does small or large LDL particles matter? No, not at all. LDL does not cause heart disease, period.
Or any fractions.
That's right, or any fraction of them. That's right. Cardiovascular, atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease is not caused by lipids, any of them, or lipoproteins, any of them, at all, demonstrably, unequivocally. End of discussion. It's nonsense. It's theology. It's smoke and mirrors. Change the goalpost. Look over there, shiny thing. Take this drug that you don't need to sort out a physiological response in your blood plasma that's only ever going to be associated with a deleterious outcome, in fact. There you go. There it is. Yes. All right.
Is there a question about, is Epstein a psyop or something?
There might be. I haven't seen one. I don't think Epstein is a psyop.
No, I don't.
I think Epstein is a pedophile, or was a pedophile, who is reported to be dead. There's a question about whether that's so or not. Whatever. I don't know. I didn't see the body myself, but... You know,
can I read what I can see here then?
Yeah, go on.
I think it's an interesting question, right? Do you think this Epstein thing is just a psyop to distract us? So I don't think that either.
No.
I'm saying you. Anyhow, on the same page as you, and then the next question says, you have acknowledged how ignorant a normal person is. So do you think dystopia is inevitable, or do you think that good guys who are clever, even if in a minority, can and should change the course of events?
Right. My opinions on that are, number one, no, I don't think it's a psyop. I don't think it's a distraction. I think it's just another problem that is a very real problem that goes, well, the rot goes a very, very long way, and we'll get to that, I think, a bit later in the show as to how far the rot goes here. We know it goes a very, very long way up, and we know that there are a huge, huge number of people who, if there's any justice in the world, which I'm starting to doubt, a huge number of people in very, very high places are going to end up looking at the inside of a cell. I don't think that's going to happen. They'll find a way of, sweeping it under the carpet once again, I imagine. But we'll get to who these people may be and, at what level they might be as and when. What was the second bit of the question? Should good people put the effort in to try and change the world? I think so.
Yeah, basically, yes.
I think we should try. I mean, I'm always lamenting the fact that on average, people are immensely fucking stupid. Some of them hold medical degrees. Some of them hold PhD degrees. And yet their IQ is apparently lower than your average retarded goldfish. It's stunning to me how these people can possibly even dress themselves in the morning. Or some of them, I'm surprised they don't simply forget to breathe and die. That's the level of stupidity we're dealing with. That combined with a lack of testicular intestinal fortitude and or a sufficiently robust axial skeleton, you know, what am I talking about there, Stephen? I'm referring to people being sheeple.
Yes.
And being led around by the nose, by the elites, and complying. If you comply, you are part of the problem.
Yep. I didn't wear a mask. I didn't do anything that I was meant to do.
Neither
I was
did
ostracized. And one of my family's Christmas events I was not allowed to go to because I stood my ground on it.
Yep.
Sad.
Yep. Maybe we should start a circus act with the bearded baby.
Yes. Well, to me, that's what he is. He rants,
right.
He screams, he shouts, and he's incoherent, and he looks like a chubby little fat bearded baby. I'm sorry, but he is.
He makes himself out to be worth listening to, incredible. But he's a child.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Academically, experience-wise, wisdom-wise, this is a little boy. Anyway.
No, I know you name call for effect. I do know you do that. But I think when people ask, well, what are your qualifications? I feel that they've lost the argument when they start saying that sort of thing.
Yeah. So when they do that, what they're telling you is they can't assail your argument.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Huberman and Attia were in cahoots with protein bars called David bars. Yes.
Seed oils.
Yep, seed oils, which aren't bad, apparently. Of course they're not bad, says Peter Attia. The reason he says they're not bad is not because he's credible scientifically. It's because he's in cahoots with Huberman and protein bars, David bars.
Yes.
Selling a product full of seed oils.
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward.
It's not rocket science, is it?
No, it's not. And neither is it longevity science.
No, it's not that.
No, not at all. Yes. All right. Yes. Very good. Very good. Okay. Right. I'm up to speed now. I've seen those two questions that we've just dealt with. Finally,
well done.
I'm a bit behind in the chat. I'm doing a Harry Sopanos. I'm behind.
Well, I'm not here for 5 hours, mate. Sorry.
Oh well. How long are you here for? How long have we got left?
What should we do? Another 20 minutes, something like that.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Very good. So shall we deal with this? Shall we deal with this rot of people in high places?
Yeah, I have no idea who you're talking about. I really don't.
Right,
I haven't got a keen idea.
No. Okay. Well, number one, I cannot for the life of me comprehend why, or understand the possible reason why the current Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, hasn't taken it upon himself to resign at this point, despite everything, which we'll get to, and B, why His Majesty the King hasn't fired him and fired the whole government and said, we'll have a general election now. Until you look at what's going on and then you go, well, that'll be why. Okay, so for those that have had your head somewhere warm and moist and don't follow UK politics, what happened is, a bit back, the current sitting Prime Minister of the UK, who is, without any question, the most unpopular Prime Minister in history, in recorded history, with the lowest approval rating, representing one of the major centrist left and right parties, in this case the left-leaning party called the Labour Party in the UK. They are polling at anywhere between 10 and 16% now, only 18 months after the last general election. He has put forward a number of hugely divisive, hugely unpopular policies, done backflips on almost every one of them, removed any sense of credibility from himself that he might have had. And as part of all of that, at one point, not that long ago, he appointed a man to be the ambassador to the US for the UK with a plum posting on Capitol Hill.
Mm-hmm.
This is a guy called Lord Mandelson, still a lord at this point, perhaps not for much longer, we'll see. Lord Mandelson is a close personal friend of Jeffrey Epstein. And the email trail is very, very clear that Lord Mandelson is not squeaky clean in respect of his conduct with Mr. Epstein in various places around the world, including his ranch and his island, including Lord Mandelson providing Mr. Epstein with sensitive information at a governmental level, i.e. the bailout of the euro that was going on. He knew all about that. He knew all about the impending resignation of Gordon Brown when he was the Prime Minister, and he gave that information to Epstein, which Epstein used for fiduciary benefit because he was a trader as well as a pedophile and a pimp. Basically, Lord Mandelson is, in my mind, guilty without any question whatsoever of high treason and should be treated accordingly. Further to that, Mr. Epstein provided Lord Mandelson's husband with a large grant to study osteopathy.
Yeah.
For some reason. I wonder if that had anything to do with the sharing of the information, perhaps. Anywho, there's that. This all happened some years ago, and the contact with Epstein was still going on right up until the proposed death of Epstein, or the reported death of Epstein. So he knew, right? He was appointed after these facts had come to light, and Epstein was convicted of it, and the relationship between these two gentlemen was known. And he appointed this man to a plum position as ambassador to the US anyway. Why hasn't he resigned?
Yeah, why not?
He made the call. He was given the advice as to, what this man's background is. He knew it anyway, because actually the current UK Prime Minister is also a good friend of Lord Mandelson, and it would seem acquainted himself with Mr. Epstein. So he was, apparently, allegedly. So basically the entire New Labour movement in the UK, to its very core, Lord Mandelson was involved in putting the thing together in the first place, drawing in the political talent, shall we say, into that organisation. He is the absolute heart and soul of the entire thing. If every single name that was involved with Epstein in the New Labour organisation was brought to justice, the place would be decimated. That party would absolutely crumble. That's why it's all being brushed under the carpet a bit. And so why hasn't the king intervened? Well, the king has intervened in terms of censuring his own brother in a very, very serious and very meaningful way, or series of ways over time. The worse it gets for Mr. Mountbatten Windsor, the more the king, censures and whatever. Absolutely. But get this. It turns out this week, in another email that's come to light, that a senior aide to His Majesty King Charles III was responsible for, get this, royal protection on Epstein Island. There goes plausible deniability, King Charles. He knew. He needs to go as well.
Yep.
Simple as that. So how far does the rot go? It goes to the very crown.
Yes.
That's how far it goes. And that's before we get into some of the Americans that are involved as well as people from other. I'm just looking at the British side of the scandal at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a suggestion made that one former President Obama is also on that list in a way that's not too flattering. To which his responses, and this is very important that you listen very carefully to the exact words that Mr. Obama said in response to these allegations. He said this: "I did not touch any girls on that island."
Yeah, it's very deliberate. Deliberately worded,
I
isn't it?
I believe that's true.
Yes.
Absolutely. I would suggest that Mr. Obama is being absolutely truthful in that regard.
Yes.
Anyways, we also know that the current POTUS is also on that list. Was also, an associate, at least, of Mr. Epstein. We know that. Whether or not Mr. Trump had, or President Trump, I should say, had anything to do with him after the time that he was convicted, i.e. after the time that Epstein was convicted, I don't know. If he was, then he's tarred with the same brush, because as far as I'm concerned, anyone that associates with a convicted pedophile in any way, shape or form is part of the problem and should be treated in the same way. I haven't seen any evidence personally that the president was in that boat, but they were acquainted. They have spent time together. They are photographed together in various places at various times with various people in their proximity, whose faces are all redacted, funnily. So, how far does this thing go? How wide does this thing go? To what level, to what echelons does this thing go? Sky's the limit, I think. What do you think, Stephen? Not to put you on the spot, but there it is.
Well, no, I mean, you've laid that out particularly sensibly, and it smells rotten all the way through. And the thing is, there is such a thing as your gut feeling, and most of the people that you just mentioned, I've never had a good gut feeling about. And you're absolutely right. I mean, maybe because I'm deaf and I look at subtitles, I am very aware of what people say, and they omit the thing, but they sound like they're being honest, like you say, using that one sentence as an example. I didn't touch any girls there. Right.
That's
okay.
Right.
Well, if you're not paying attention, that doesn't say what you think might have happened. So, I find it, going back to what we said about the general public, I find it frightening that there's still so many people that are not awake to this and do think it's a conspiracy theory. And there are apologists already for many of the people. And I find that quite disheartening. I feel the injustices and people being arrested for, a tweet and then put in prison, whereas other people cause physical harm and rape and they get suspended sentences. It is two-tier justice here. Absolutely. You're right about being in prison. I genuinely, for the first time in my life, in the last 12, 13 months, thought, I could possibly be put in prison for what I'm tweeting or, putting something on Facebook or something like that, something that is just factual as well. And there are things that you just seem to be unable to talk about logically with some people, like the transgender thing, which that came out in the Epstein files, that this was all planned to divide people and to push the trans agenda forward. Very upsetting, because it's so obvious that if someone was a man and they become a woman, they have an advantage in sport. So, sport is a passion of mine. Anything that's unfair, I don't like. And I think what's happening, basically, that's unfair in sports. Women should have safe spaces. That's so patently obvious. You get people like, there's a chap called Professor Dave Explains, saying, that
also not a professor, by the way.
He's not a professor. No, I know. And he's saying, I've got this great theory about the brains are different in these people. Well, also on his channel, when he talks about genetics and he talks about biology, he actually says there's male and there's female, and he talks about chromosomes. So he's denying the very thing he teaches.
Yes.
So why aren't these people being called to task? I just don't get it at all. I'm very careful with what I write and what I say, and I only ever tell people what factually is happening. I very rarely add an opinion, because that does open you up. But if you say, well, look, there is XX chromosomes and the XY chromosomes. And when you are a child, for instance, and I wrote about this in my Substack, you know, if you have a mother that's breastfeeding, and it is a mother that's going to be doing that, the breast milk is different if you have a boy or a girl. That's fact.
Mm-hmm.
So we know from every single moment you're either a boy or a girl. Yes, there are people that are confused, and yes, there are, you know, there's always outliers, but I'm talking about the vast majority, 99.999% of the population. And you can't say these things. Even now, I'm feeling, well, maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but it's just a fact.
Yeah.
You know, if you take all the trans men and you know, if you take all the trans women, sorry, and you put them on an island, they're not going to be able to reproduce in any way, shape, or form, are they?
No.
You can't have men getting pregnant.
That's right.
It's just not possible.
And in 500 years, when the skeletons are discovered, the anthropologists of that time will say, look, some male skeletons.
Absolutely.
Because that's what they are.
Yeah. Because the hips are different. You know,
That's right.
That's how we know. We know this. Sorry, I'm ranting a little bit myself now.
Don't be sorry. Ranting is what we do here. That's why we're here.
But it is upsetting, and I genuinely feel that there is a possibility. I mean, I'm going to be absolutely frank with you. I mean, I did something today via my bank, and I had the fraud squad messaging.
Right.
Because they're just trying to make every single transaction difficult.
That's right.
You know, I've had the same with Stripe. I've had the same with PayPal. I'm not doing anything fraudulent. It's just they are making life really difficult. On Facebook, I am not allowed to friend anyone. Yes. You know, they're trying to sort of chip away at you for saying the truth.
Yes, we need to unbank ourselves, Stephen. We need to all get involved in decentralized, self-managed. Well, crypto is the answer for finances going forward. We need to all get out of the system, out of the fiat system, as soon as we possibly can do that. Bitcoin is absolutely, you know, bargain basement at the moment. A lot of people are saying it can fall further. Well, yes, it can, but it doesn't look like it's going to. It looks like from here it's going to go up again. So now is a good time. If you want to get involved in getting some crypto, you need to do some basic things right in terms of the security around that, though. If you can, use non-KYC methods of purchasing said coins. That's probably better. You absolutely do need to self-custody. You can't trust anybody else. You need a cold wallet that you self-custody the Bitcoins or other crypto if you believe other crypto is worth it too. There's doubt about that. There are people that say there are Bitcoins and shitcoins. I don't know how accurate that is. I do understand what Bitcoin is, how Bitcoin works. I have done the work now. I am convinced that it's the way forward, at least for the foreseeable future. And you know, I'm not all in on that. There is a sensible, rational percentage of one's fluid wealth I think that they could speculatively put into a crypto like Bitcoin, and I would suggest Bitcoin is the one that they should go for. Personally, that's just my opinion. Doesn't have to be anybody else's. Do some self-custodying, make sure you've got that sorted out, and then you've got at least some kind of insurance so that when, not if, when we all get debanked, or when the fiat currency fails, or both, when the Cocoa Pops strikes, when the shit hits the fan, then, you know, there is somewhere to go, something, you know, all of that. But let's deal with this one last question before we finish, shall we? There probably are other questions too, but whatever. We can't keep all the people happy. We have. Yeah. Right. What are your thoughts on DMSO and how does it work to help with nerve regeneration? I lost the use of my arm from a compressed nerve and had surgery to relieve this stenosis last week. Already improving. That's interesting. Go on. What do you think, Stephen?
Dimethyl sulfoxide. It's well, I don't know enough about it actually. I was hoping you was going to answer because it seems to be coming up a lot. So I don't know why. Whether that's because there's been a big push on it and people are getting results. I have nobody in my practice that has used it, or you know, and I did been around this for 16, 17 years doing rehab.
Mm.
So I would say, if there's lots of anecdotes, that's interesting, because I do believe in clinical experience, but I've never used it, so I can't speak fully on it. What's your...
My experience with it is the same as yours. I've heard of it. It is the thing du jour, it seems. Everyone's on about it. It's one of the things on my list of things to look into that I haven't looked into yet. What I would say to you, though, is in your question, it mentioned that you'd had surgery to relieve the stenosis, to relieve the blockage of the nerve. How do you know that's not the thing that's caused the improvement?
Yeah, could be that.
Anyway, there it is.
Could be the body. Could be the body, couldn't it? Actually responding to the injury of the surgery.
Yeah, absolutely. Super chat. Love it. Would you please elaborate on how LDL might or might not be caught in an endothelial lesion from outside the arteries through a blood vessel? Yes, when you have an inflammatory cascade occurring because an endothelial cell is damaged and needs repair, it expresses a number of chemical factors which are binding agents, which act ostensibly like Velcro if they are the hooks and LDL are the eyes. They grab the LDL as it passes and basically hold it there so that it has the opportunity to unload its cargo of lipids, including cholesterol, to the cells that desperately need that for repair purposes. So that's how that happens. And there are other means, including exocytosis, whereby these lipid particles can actually pass directly through the endothelial cells in one side and right out the other, actually, if they need to go deep. So there is that. And the thing that binds them up, there are these chemical agents that do that, which are inflammatory mediated things, pretty much. How's that? Is that $10 worth?
I think so. And they might be alluding to the vasovasorum, which is the Professor Vladimir Subutin's theory that...
Hey, go on. Tell us more.
Well, that's the vessels of the vessels, which I think is an interesting theory. I've talked about this as well, because he uses he stains the LDL and he stains the macrophages, and he uses microscopic images and looks at the progression. And his theory is that the blood vessels supplying the arterial wall, so the vasovasorum, the vessels of the vessels outside, have a bigger role to play than the mainstream medical profession believe. And he talks a bit about neovasculation and the hypoxia, so the death of the cells. Basically, the vessels encroach into that area and deliver their cargo, and also will start the thrombosis, part of that process to actually repair anything there, bringing in, fibrinogen and basically all that's meshing together. So I think that's, I was trying to give you a bit of extra money's worth there on the super chat.
Right.
So I think it could be that. Vladimir Subutin, if you want to look at that theory, is very good. So basically he's saying the LDL theory, if you are going to believe in that, if you look at it from an inside out perspective, that does actually make a bit more sense, but it's still not LDL that's the problem. It's still, he's still saying it isn't the problem. Anyway, that's my...
very good. All right, we'll do this last one before we finish, because it's an interesting one. I do not understand the difference between acid and ions when you talk about lactate or other things in humans. Can you lay it out in simple terms, please? Yes, here we go. Imagine that Steve and I have a partnership, and we are called acid. And that partnership has no charge. We are electrochemically neutral. Steve and I together, we are acid. If after this, in a few minutes, Steve and I go our separate ways, as we're going to, I go and do my thing, he goes and does his thing. Opposites attract. Let's say I'm positive, TE, and Stephen is negative. It's probably the other way around, actually. You're positive, I'm negative, it would seem. One of us has a positive charge, one of us has a negative charge, and when we go our separate ways, we exert those charges. But when we get back together, we kind of moderate each other. So an acid has no effect on acidity, because acidity is the effect caused by the positive ion, Steve in this case. The negative ion is what's the other part of it that has other effects. How's that?
Do you think she's happy with it? Yeah. Yeah,
good. Very good. Okay. That being the case, I think really the only thing left to do is to remind people what it is that they should have in the morning for their breakfast.
Is that when they take their hardcore carnivore stem enhance?
Yes, you can take your hardcore carnivore stem enhance. Take it in the morning, take it in the evening, take it in the noontime. I don't care. Just take it. Those of you that are not on board yet with a wellness pack of the 3 fine Sorul products, which you will see currently displayed over my right shoulder, where have you been? What's wrong with you? Okay, the green labeled bottle will increase your circulating supply of adult stem cells in your blood, which is a great thing because they do magics. You can get the carnivore friendly formulation if you're in Australia, New Zealand, the UK, or the European Union. Otherwise, you're stuck with the standard formulation, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not the hardcore carnivore one. The blue labeled one in the middle is an anti-inflammatory, which works on the LOX and COX pathways. It does it without the same side effects that you will get from the pharmaceutical versions of such a thing. So that's good. And in the red label, you have a blood flow optimizer, which is an enzyme preparation designed specifically to target fibrin deposits in the microvasculature, thus clearing those microvascular tubules, the capillaries, or if you're in America, capillaries, because you can't speak English. And altogether, that's a holy triumvirate of good stuffs, which you all need and you should all be on every single day. And you can get them from Steve, onlinecoach.cerule.com. All right. So there you go. You should have those for your breakfast, but also you should probably have something else as well. Steak and eggs and eggs and steak. That's what you have for your breakfast. Delicious. Eggs and steak and steak and eggs. Just making sure you heard. I think they got it, Ted, didn't they? Hurrah!
You did.
Join us next time when someone will be wrong on interwebs.
Because they always are.
Hit the button, Ted. Anytime you like. Thanks, Steve, by the way.